Okay, so quick video for myself, Harvey Goldman. No cuts, no edits, no filters, and no hair. And for today's video, I am on another anonymous industrial estate somewhere in Devon. The door's open, the wind is blowing, cars are bombing by on my left, there are badgers, there are shoppers. It's all going on. It is what it is. So today's video, I want to jump into a very quick one about the rise of, I guess you call them auditors or citizen journalists, whatever it might be. So when did this become a thing? Well, it seems that every generation has its kind of dark entertainment, and I guess the early Romans had the Colosseum, the Greeks probably a little bit before them had the Olympia or the Olympiad. I guess in the 18th and 19th century you had cockfighting and bare knuckle boxing, and you know, it is what it is. And it seems nowadays we've got provocation for titillation on YouTube. So I can't tar everybody with the same brush, although there are many that need to be tarred, probably and feathered. But for the most part, it seems that there are groups of people that work as teams going around mostly the same areas from what I've seen. Hotspots, I guess you'd call them, places like Piccadilly Circus in Manchester, or you know, Liverpool, or Derby, or Leeds, or Blackpool, or Jaywick, or whatever. Now, there are some out there that do very interesting videos. I can't, as I said, tar them all with the same brush. There is a guy called Billy Moore. I believe his channel is called All or Nothing, so apologies if I've got that wrong. And to be fair, I genuinely like him. I genuinely like him as a commentator for the public. And I think that's what he is. I genuinely think that's what he is. And he does make money from it and everything else. But I don't think he goes out of his way to provoke people to get reactions, to then make good content or, you know, digestible content to then make money from. I don't feel that he does that. Most of the videos that I've seen from him, they seem to, on balance, just be going out to an area that is maybe a bit of a hotspot for one reason or another, whether it's riots or immigration or poverty or whatever it might be. And he will interview people. He will chat to anybody that will chat to him. They could be homeless, they could be working, they could be black, they could be white, they could be rich, they could be poor. He'll speak to anybody, and he's just interested in how they're getting on, what life is like in that part of the country, and it's very interesting. If you don't get to travel much, and I don't, unless it's to holiday, I don't really travel the UK, not all that much, unless it's to fly somewhere. It is very interesting just to see how the North live, how the Northeast live, and it's digestible content. I find it very, very viewable. And then there are other people that I've seen videos of. There's a guy called Charlie Veitch, or Veitch. I'm not sure how you say it, so apologies if I got that wrong. His videos, and I've seen him in Billy Moore's videos. That's how I found the guy. But he's got his own channel. He's a very big YouTuber as well, by all accounts. His videos seem to be a bit more along the provocative edge. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. He's obviously a businessman. He's got a channel that's got a huge following. He's obviously making bank from it. That's why he does it. And I'd never disparage against anybody for trying to make money. And it is legitimate as well. But his videos seem to be more along the provocation for titillation side of things. And I'm not sure that I agree with it. I'm not sure that I agree with it. And I know, again, they're interesting videos, so let's not get it twisted. I've watched his videos. He turns up at rallies, and his videos tend to be more about things where there are problems between race, or there are problems between immigrants and non-immigrants, or people that support it and people that don't, or whatever. So he's much more, I guess, in tune with what's politically, some nutter on a motorbike. He's much more in tune with what's more a political hot potato than perhaps Billy Moore is. But he tends to provoke people within the videos, and it might be that there's not enough content, and so he'll be near a group of protesters and start calling them smelly lefties or commies or any other number of terms, and then they bait him back. And this makes like about an hour's worth of content. And it got me thinking, when did this become such a thing? And it's not like these videos are just going out there and getting like 1,000 views or 10,000 views. He's getting like 200,000 views or even more in the space of a day. And I think for him, it's got to the point where this guy, this Charlie guy, has now got a bodyguard who's like an ex-MMA guy or something like that, some guy called Fred, who follows him everywhere because of the danger that this auditing role or this citizen journalist role that he's carved out for himself has put him in. And it made me think, is he earning enough money from YouTube? Is it worth putting your life at risk, provoking whole factions of the UK in different towns and cities just to make like a couple £100 on a video? It's a weirdness. I don't know how YouTube got like this. I don't know what morally. I think it's a grey area, because on one level you've got the interest side of it, where yes, it's interesting to see how other people live, and it's interesting to see what life is like in other parts of the UK. But is it interesting to see people get provoked and wound up so that they react and then get thrown to the ground by a bodyguard or whatever this Fred guy is? I don't know. I mean, it's entertaining. It's entertaining on some level, in the same way that, you know, Quentin Tarantino films are entertaining, and I don't know that I wholly agree with it on any level. But does it create sort of distrust in the mainstream media as well? Because obviously we've got the news, our news, which, let's face it, we know that the billionaires that control the media companies, they decide what news we get. So on one level, these citizen journalists, whether it's Charlie Veitch provoking people, whether it's Billy Moore and his commentary on northern poverty, they're probably displaying parts of the news that we wouldn't otherwise get to see. It's just that maybe it's not done in the best way. Now, I know that smartphones are everywhere. They're both ubiquitous and also powerful. And that everybody now films everything. And I've seen videos, again, on YouTube and on TikTok, I've seen videos of people getting attacked in the UK and abroad. People getting attacked and then somebody filming it rather than going to help. Now, I know that the argument there is, it's not your fight, bro. Like, why would you bother? But surely you would. Come on, surely you would. If someone was getting attacked, you wouldn't just whap your phone out and try and get a viral video out of it. You'd shout, or you'd help, or you'd try and attract attention. Or at least I think a normal, balanced person would. But it seems that that's left society. And now platforms like YouTube and others, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, they reward this type of content. And I know it's authentic, 100%. It's authentic and it's real until it's created out of provocation, and then it's probably not. Is that real content? Or is it just something to placate the algorithm because it prioritizes engagement? And watching scuffles, watching protesters get thrown about by other protesters and by bodyguards and by police. I mean, is that what we've descended to? It's madness. I mean, the impacts on this are massive. On one level, you've got like grassroots accountability and citizen journalists. There is a massive uprising in it. And in actual fact, at one point, when I first started this channel, I did consider that I wanted to see how the cost of living was affecting other towns. And that's kind of what Billy Moore already does. So for that reason, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be in a position where I'm offering people on the street that are clearly in a really bad way a fiver or a meal deal to give me an interview to say how shit their life is so that I can make a few quid on YouTube, you know, from their misery. I don't think I've got it in me to do that. I mean, maybe I'm too soft. Maybe my stance on that should be more money driven. But yeah, But that, I mean, the positive is that it's grassroots and it's not governed by an organisation. It's not governed by billionaire and their spin and what they want you to hear. So the kind of news that you get from these guys is more real than probably anything else you're going to see on terrestrial television, or perhaps even in the papers. But the negatives must be huge, because the propensity for misinformation or for something being misrepresented. For example, on Charlie's videos, he'll go into marches where there are Islamists, and a lot of his recent stuff that I've seen, or that I've seen pop up, has been stuff about people that are pro-Palestine and pro-Hamas and all the rest of it. I'm sure we've all got our own opinions on it, but it's almost like the amount of negative and the amount of misinformation that can come from that, I'm sure that you lose context. There might be a propensity for people to see these videos and have knee-jerk outrage. Then there's the privacy elements and the legal risks. And I know a lot of these YouTubers, a lot of these auditors, the first thing that they'll do when somebody says, look, I don't want to be filmed, is to film them and to say, well, I'm in public. And it's like, yes, that is the case. Yes, you are in public. And yes, to an extent, you do have a right to film in public. Nobody can tell you that you can't film in a public space. But I think on another level, you should respect people's privacy. I really do think you should. And I think it's alarming to see the amount of these videos that are going up with people that are walking by and people that have got their kids and everything else that maybe they might not even be aware that they're in a video. And if they had the choice, they'd probably say, look, I don't want to be in this video. Please blur my face or pixelate my face, or at least pixelate my children's face, whatever it might be. And I don't see that happening. So I see there being not really a legal risk, because it is not illegal per se to film in public. But surely there's a GDPR risk. Surely there's a consent risk with, you know, these people just being lambasted over the internet. And what if somebody on a video gets put in a bad light? What if just one part of an incident gets captured? What if you just see the fallout of an incident, but you don't see the lead up to it? That could be horrific. Like, the ramifications there could be catastrophic, because people are only seeing the aftermath. They're not seeing the events that led to that aftermath. And I think that's where citizen journalism probably falls down. I'm amazed it's become so popular. I mean, on one level, I'm amazed it's become so popular. On another level, I guess I'm not, because it probably makes very good money. But these stories, I mean, what I would like to do, I would love to actually interview somebody that goes, I'd love to interview somebody like Billy Moore or somebody like Charlie Veitch. I'd love to interview them and just find out why they do it, what they feel that they get from it, what they feel that we get from it as viewers, whether they think that they're honestly making a difference, or if, let's be honest, they're really just doing it to make bank. And there's no shame in either way. I mean, if they're going to say, look, I do it just for the money, fine, it's not illegal. Morally, it's a grey area, but it's not illegal. So, you know, I'd just love to know. I'd love to know why. It's one of those, as I said, I make the videos that I make for me. I don't really make them for anybody in particular. There are just thoughts that enter my head, and questions that I feel like I need to ask, and this was one of them. So, look, what are your thoughts on this? Have you encountered this in your town, in your area? Have you come across a citizen journalist or an auditor on your travels? What was your interaction with them like? How did you find them? Were you happy that you've appeared on one of their videos, if that was the case? And if you weren't, what were your options? What could you have done about it, if anything? Drop it in the comments, let me know. And yeah, YouTube's going to put another video there. Like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz. I'm going to go back to my 9 to 5, have a little cry, and Goldman, peace out.